Salute to all the real ones out there. It's your boy Mike coming at you again with another video. Y'all like the content I've been dropping, direction of my channel is headed in. I need you to like, comment, subscribe, and share the videos with anybody else you think may benefit from them, alright? Now, today's topic is going to be masculine edge and combat readiness, alright? So first things first, I would like to welcome everybody into 2026. I hope that all of us are collectively reaching our goals and coming into this new year with gusto and power that will allow us to forge ahead. So let's get straight into it. So in my opinion, masculinity it's like a complex mix of traits and behaviors that are linked to men, all right, and it emphasizes strength, stoicism, and dominance. So we're in a time where masculine edge is effectively being dulled down, something like a knife that doesn't have the same ability to cut through anything. That's how I feel is the current state of affairs when it comes to masculine edge, right? Every single arena where men would typically populate, congregate, and link up with each other to build, those spaces have effectively been open to the wider public, meaning that women are allowed to come into male spaces. And this is not necessarily a bad thing, but what I see as an overall trend is the fact that a lot of men are losing their that edge that made them somewhat dangerous, like that power and machismo that you see from previous generations. I feel in these times it's being somewhat diluted, right? So the thing about masculinity is the fact that you can't really escape the roles that nature has deemed necessary for us to do, and that's our coming down to our ability to protect and to provide. So when you think about like protecting, this has to do with your ability to fight, you having courage and being able to take action even if fear is somewhat holding you back, having physical strength that you regularly test and ideally hone in on by working out, taking up some type of physical endeavor that keeps you sharp in this way. Your ability to defend and deter. If you think about being a man and having the first three, points covered, you will effectively keep people from even wanting to try you because they know that you will be a formidable opponent. And then you also have to protect in the regard of having emotional refuge. As a typical husband, you not only have a wife that you need to think about, but you also may have started a family with that wife. And this means that you're going to be the first line of defense to anything that comes down the pipe, especially your children and or wives' emotional outbursts. They have not been given the strength or the strong role that you have as a man to protect and provide. So when you think about your children flipping out and not being able to handle their emotions, it's on you as the father and disciplinarian to set some type of standard that gets that child where they're able to regulate their emotions much better. Same thing with your wife. She's meant to test you, right? And ideally it's supposed to be that the woman tests the man and the man seeks his higher potential and the whole family wins as a whole. So emotional refuge is also something you have to keep in mind when it comes to protecting your family. Last but not least, you have your ability to provide. So this is much different than how it was when we had to maybe go out and hunt our own animals or get out with certain tools and use a certain plot of land for agriculture. Nowadays, things are a lot more comfortable in that sense that humans can basically go out and purchase a lot of the things that they need to sustain their lives. So the big thing is, as a man, I find it very important for you to make money. All right. This is also right in conjunction with living below your means, because if you make $100 but you wind up spending 115, here you are in a hole. If you make $100 but you blow right upon getting it, $90, you only have $10 left that you're trying to stretch for however long. Whereas if you have some type of system with that $100, i.e., you invest 15%, you save 10, you've already knocked out a quarter of the money that would have been used for consumption. Now you have $75 that you could play with, right? But the aim is to make money and also live below your means so that you hang on to more of the money that you have in your possession. Also, it's important to invest because this is the one thing that will hedge your money against inflation, which is the loss of your money due to the fact that items and things that you need to purchase tend to go up in price. So if you make the same amount of money and don't have any type of system that will allow that money to work for you and increase, then you are effectively just losing money if you just save, because each year inflation goes higher, meaning that the same amount of money that you use to cover certain costs doesn't cover that same amount of costs as time goes forward. It's also important to provide in the sense that you always develop your skills, education, business, and you seek opportunities. I'm not saying that you have to do all of those at the same time, but what I will say is that if you invest in yourself, i.e. your skills and education, you will tend to make money and things will open up for you in that regard. If you have a business and you're taking your time to scale it upwardly, then that's going to set you up for a prime position once you gain success. Reason being is that there is no cap to the amount of money that you can make when you're an entrepreneur. It really just comes down to your ability to come up with systems that are streamlined, that increase the efficiency from customers showing interest to wanting to purchase to actually having it in their hand. You have to have some type of pipeline for that. Another thing you have to do is you have to bring something to the market that people are willing to pay a good price for. Then you also need to mark up your items so that whatever it costs for you to operate in that business field allows you to make some type of profit after everything has been paid back. So things like this, of course, go hand in hand in the business world, but it really is highlighted in your ability to provide as a man if you're able to do something with business. And then last but not least, you have opportunities, which I feel when you're working on yourself, you're improving, and you have the other protection component covered, you will be just a man that will stand out in a world where most people are just lost and aimless, and where a lot of men are detached from their destiny or their higher calling. If you focus on these things, opportunities will just seem to find you because you're moving, you're shaking, you're taking care of what's in your control, and once again, you're strengthening your ability to do what nature calls on you to do: protect and provide. Now, when it comes down to the principles and characteristics, tying into this topic of masculine edge and combat readiness, you have power through action. Okay, so if I consider this like 10 masculine principles to live by, we can understand that the ability to protect and provide counts for the first two principles. Discipline, in my opinion, is the third one. All right, the third one, because you have power through action, and action in this case of discipline comes down to physical readiness, being combat ready, and having habits/rituals that ground you as a man. So physical fitness is a reoccurring theme in all of my videos. I really just profess it just as much as I live it in my day-to-day actions. Here I am talking to you. I'm sitting in a cafe that's completely empty. It's cold and windy and rainy outside, right? But what gave me the gusto to just go to the gym, crush it with 5 different exercises, and come to you with still my heart pumping from that explosive workout? It's the fact that your discipline will cover you in places where motivation fails you. So I find it very important to be disciplined as a man, because only through discipline will you be able to make things happen in lieu of how you feel, right? Motivation is something that only strikes when everything is somewhat ideal. You're in that peppy mood and you're ready to attack the world, right? But what about that following Tuesday where it's rainy, cold, like I just explained? You're warm in your bed. You could you could hit the snooze button and lay there for another hour and just rest up. But there's that calling, that discipline that forces you to get your ass up and get moving. And what's the end result? You feel phenomenal because you conquered yourself. So it's easy to now go forward and conquer the world. Order. All right. This is the number 4th principle when it comes to masculine edge and combat readiness. All right. If you have order, I'm linking this more to time management. You don't waste time. You're Spartan in not only your discipline, but also how you handle the hours that you're given. Let's be honest. Like 2025 was a year where like 4 to 5 people that I know personally passed away. And on one side, you have the tears that drop because you realize that, man, that person's out of here. But then the other side of you should, if you're like me, get a little fired up as a subtle reminder that all of us have an expiration date and none of us get out of life alive. So it's very important for you to be meticulous with how you would like to distribute your 24 hours. You know, many people will say 8 hours you sleep, 8 hours of work. Now you have 8 hours left. But if we're being completely honest, you have your travel to and from work. You have the time that you're getting ready for work. You have other things that come down the pipe, appointments, things where you have to be there at 9 o'clock, but when you show up at 9, you're actually not being seen by whatever doctor or physician until like maybe 10:15. So that's a whole nother hour that was lost, even though you had an appointment at 9 o'clock. You have emergencies that take place, fender benders, you know, that stop your day exactly where they were about to pick up momentum. Accidents, emergencies, things that you just can't imagine. Maybe a friend or a family member needs help from you, and now you have to divert your attention to getting them squared away. But if you have order, okay, you will be able to slice up your time in an efficient way that gives you room to be mobile for the things that you want to accomplish. Number 5, vision and direction. All right, this boils down to having aims/goals for life. You guys have already heard about my consistent habit of writing in my daily journal. This daily journal is so perfect because it holds me accountable and I have a track record. There's no way for me to dodge what I haven't done or for me to forget what I actually have done when I need that boost of motivation. When I feel like things are just dragging, it's easy for me to open up my book and see how many workouts I did, how many reps, the things that I had lined out to accomplish 2 months prior. And then here it is. I've already blazed past that trail and can put a check in that box. So having aims and goals, for me personally, it allows me to always be in a state of endless self-improvement. How can my life be stagnant, or how can I be stagnant as a person when I always have some type of aim that I'm going to fulfill? You know, in terms of fitness, I write in the beginning of the year, hey, I'm going to work out 3 times a year. That translates to 156 times a year. So if I do that for 10 years straight, that's over 1,500 times that I've actually worked out. So it's very important to have goals, aims, things that you're looking to accomplish, especially if there's a way for you to track it. All right. This just magnifies the amount of things that you get done over time. All right. 6, self-improvement. This has to do with your physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and financial aspects in your life, all being focused on continuously, right? Then you have, of course, there's power through action, what I said in the beginning. But 7, I want to specifically say, is your ability to take action and be decisive. All right. Simply put, it's very important for you as a man to know how to think. All right. And this means clear, away from everyone else's influence and opinion. You being able to reason and let thoughts bounce left to right in your brain's hemispheres. Then you need to be able to plan. All right. Now, planning doesn't need to be your whole entire life where you sit for 8 months just planning, and you never take action, because execute is going to be my third point when it comes down to action and decisiveness. All right. It's better for you to think, plan, execute, and then maybe realize you could have done something better, and then maybe start the process again. Then be a person who's just sitting there thinking and planning but never taking the leap. All right. The number 8 point when it comes down to masculine edge and combat readiness is definitely your emotional regulation, what I talked about before, because you're supposed to be the emotional refuge for your family, especially your woman. Maybe she's in her emotions. You need to be the one who can make her feel more grounded and solidified by being the one who has utter and complete control over your own emotional outbursts, right? So this is basically linked to stoicism, focusing on the things that are in your control and not totally ignoring the things that are in your control, but not having them as your main focus, right? What's the purpose of you flipping out about global warming when there's really nothing you can do on an individual level to stop global warming as it is presented in the media, right? But what about like how clean your room is, how in shape you are, how your bank balance looks, the relationships that are in your life with the people that you care about the most? All of these things are in your control. So focus on them, i.e. stoicism. Point number 9 of masculine edge, combat readiness, is going to be decorum. All right. This is basically developing a code of conduct for how you work, behave, dress, talk, and maneuver out in this world. And last but not least, the most critical is leadership. All right, leadership. And my biggest example, or my best way of explaining what a good leader is someone that simply lives by example with integrity. So this is a person that's a non-drifter, someone who crafts a vision for how they want to live. They hold themselves accountable, and they go forward every single day to the best of their ability to hold themselves to that standard. And if and when they fail, all they do is reflect, correct, and continue going forward, because none of us are perfect, right? But the aim is to try to be. So those are the 10 points that I have, masculine principles that we can all live by, that will increase your masculine edge and combat readiness. Very important in a time where many people are just lost and aimless.